Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. It's a glorious sunny day here in Surrey, in London, and hopefully it's sunny where my guest is calling in from, Thomas Zimmer, who is the VP of European Operations for ISPE. And Thomas, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm sitting here in the Rhine-Main area in Mainz, which is close to Frankfurt, and I can report we have also sunny weather here.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, look, Thomas, we're actually talking obviously about ISP's presence at the upcoming Achema, which is in Frankfurt on June the 10th to the 14th. But before we start talking about Achema and what ISP are doing there, for viewers who are not familiar with ISP, first of all, could you first give them a quick overview of who ISP are? And secondly, can you tell us more about your footprint in Europe?
Most important from ISPE is that we are a membership organization. And second, that we are not for profit. And these two elements make us a serious and reliable partner also for regulators in dialogue about what is current practice in industry and where should industry go in future. So in order that regulations will be very practical in application.
Right. Now, and ISP has been going for a number of years, and you've got a lot of members, not just in North America, but worldwide. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have in total more than 22,000 worldwide. There are 7,000 in Europe, distributed over 13 affiliates in many European countries. Some countries are combined for the reason that they speak the same language. The biggest affiliate is the so-called DACH affiliate, DACH. That means Germany, Austria, and a big part of Switzerland, German spoken. Yeah. Another one is the Nordic, which combines Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway. Yeah. And so another one, a third one is Iberia. Iberia is Spain, Portugal. They do not speak same language, but they understand each other very well.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now let's talk about, you mentioned Europe, obviously, then talked about some of the affiliates. So in terms of members, you've got 7,000. How long has sort of the European part of ISP been going, and what sort of activity do you do in Europe?
Europe started, correctly informed, in the year 1980, and the crystallization point was Germany.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah. What are they doing? Basically, we have a global strategy, and basically we do the same, follow the same goals and targets worldwide. That means we make conferences, education, we issue guidelines in order to publish the knowledge of our members. And based on the guidelines, we offer trainings, various formats and designs. So can be classroom training, can be on-site training, can be hands-on training in model factories like 𝐸𝐸𝐹 in Strasbourg. Yeah, this is a very nice small factory with all elements. Yeah, and belonging to University of Strasbourg. And here you can make practical experience how to make sterile products, but also other products.
Fantastic. Now, before we talk finally about Achema, though, from your perspective, obviously been at ISP a long time and obviously working across Europe as well in terms of activity, what trends have you seen across pharma by pharma in the last 12 months that people, that have been interesting to you? What trends have you seen appear?
There are basically two things.
Yeah.
Most important is that we have drug shortages in the supply chain.
Yeah.
Which raises the question, how can we stabilize supply chain? How can we improve supply chain resilience? Yeah, this is the biggest, and for the patient, for the customer, is most important. Do I get my drug, yes or no? Yeah, this is far away and above from all other questions. Yeah. So, and the other one is, of course, the agencies, regulatory agencies have reacted, and there are some new regulation underway, but there are also regulation underway driven by sustainability. Yeah. And a very big point is this so-called PFAS, a polyfluoroalkyl substance ban. This tells a non-expert nothing, but you should know that almost 80% of our pharmaceutical drugs are somewhere affected by this, either chemical compounds for API manufacturing,
Yep.
or production material, or excipients, or the final product itself can have elements of polyfluoroalkylates.
Right.
These polyfluoroalkylates, they will be banned due to the fact that they have an accumulation in the environment. They cannot completely destroyed. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Now, at Achema, what are ISPE actually doing? So, what's your arrangement with Achema? What sort of partnership have you got with Achema, and what are you doing this year?
Yeah, we have in Hall 4.1 a place where ISPE expert will present current topics on technological progress and problem-solving approaches for supply chain bottlenecks. So no wonder there's a repetition what I have said already. There are 4 big points. One is supply chain resilience.
Yep.
The second one is Pharma 4.0/Industry 4.0. The third point is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And last but not least, as we are highly regulated industry, regulation, compliance, and governance. So if you like, I can briefly jump on these topics, yeah?
Yeah, please do.
So supply chain resilience, as I said, the agencies have reacted, and the European Commission has started the so-called HERA initiative. HERA stands for European Health Emergency Response Authority. Was a little bit triggered by COVID, but also by other geopolitical impacts. And think of what is happening in Egypt, in Near East, yeah, and all these things have impact on the supply chain. So what is it? It should be a new authority for crisis preparedness and response. And they work on strategic responses, costs, and mode of action to ensure the supply of medicines to the population in Europe. ISPE has also contributed in an expert group to this conceptual work of the European Commission. So measures are flexible manufacturing, stockpiling, and working on so-called preventative supply chain plans and on so-called contingency plans to be more on the safe side.
Right. Okay.
The second point is that goes to innovation, to new technologies, and this is what we call Pharma 4.0. The Industry 4.0 concept is already some years old. It started in 2010 in Germany, and it went global. And ISPE recognized around 2015-16 that it is needed to transform these conceptual ideas in the pharmaceutical world. Why? Because the pharmaceutical world, as I said, is highly regulated, this is one point, and the pharmaceutical world has its branch-typical codes and terms. And therefore, we want to include the pharmaceutical language in this Industry 4.0 concept. And the outcome is an operating model. And this operating model gives guidance and guardrails to the industry what to do in terms of being prepared for a digital transformation, because digital transformation is not a technical project. Digital transformation has a lot of premises to fulfill.
Sure.
It starts with the good data management, with that your processes are okay, that your people have the right skill set, and so on and so forth. So a wide area. Yeah, and some tools have developed, so-called assessment tools for all the elements and enablers for this preparedness. And last but not least, we issued a Pharma 4.0 baseline guide. Last December, it was public. And in this, you find on top a collection of use cases and case studies. Yeah, some companies have lighthouse projects, pilot projects, studies, and so on and so forth. And some are already a step further in rollout and implementation. This is what there will be some speeches on that in our program. And this leads me to point number 3, artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is the question for the pharmaceutical industry: how is good automation practice being changed by AI, by artificial intelligence? What regulatory implications need to be considered? How can legacy systems be handled? What possibilities does an asset administration shell offer here? For non-experts, an asset administration shell is a tool which allows you to work with legacy systems and to connect them each other and to make data speak to each other. This is a very interesting concept, yeah, because this is the biggest hurdle of innovation and application of new technologies.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with you there.
Yeah, which agree a connection. And so, so what role do digital twins play in tapping new potential for faster and lower risk planning through simulations, for cost reductions in operations? Today, you can plan a new factory virtually by simulation, and by this measure, you can postpone the moment when you have to take money in your hands in order to buy hardware. And this is for finance people of high income, yeah, how long they have to
Sure.
deal with bound capital. And so, yeah, last but not least, regulation, compliance, and governance. Again, as a high regulated industry, innovations in pharmaceuticals are subject to close scrutiny by health authorities. And health authorities' task is to ensure safety and efficacy of medicinal products. And the new approach we offer by this Pharma 4.0 is the so-called holistic control strategy, which helps to reduce risks and create transparency from the supplier of the material down to the patients. That means we consider an extended scope. That means our value chain is longer, and we even discuss no longer the term value chain. We discuss the word value network, which is one dimension more. Yeah, and so these concepts are laid out in our Pharma baseline guide, Pharma 4.0 baseline guide. Yeah, and all this will be presented in Achema in a very condensed way in order to make people understand what is the way of the pharmaceutical industry in future.
Fantastic.
We cannot stay behind. We cannot stay behind. We cannot stay behind other industries. It's impossible. We deal with health. We deal with people. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, thank you for sharing that, Thomas. Actually, I've learned something new today as well. So what we'll do is we'll put the link to ISPE above this video anyway, but also to Achema, where they can see the program as well and see what you're doing. Now, one final question for you then is that, well, it's going to be a two-part question again. Before we talk about why should people attend Achema, as I've got you here, why should people join ISPE if they haven't already?
So your first question, why should people attend? The Achema in history was for chemical industry only. Today, all these new technologies overlap each other. That means the application of digitalization is for everybody. And therefore, the organizers of the Achema decided already for the last Achema, they want to develop this pharmaceutical branch of Achema more and more and more.
Sure.
In order to support this overlapping and this cross-functional approach. Why should join people in ISPE? Very simple answer. You learn a lot of colleagues in peer discussions. You have the chance to discuss with regulators in an environment you never have in your company. And I think this is already enough, but there is more.
Fantastic. Well, look, Thomas, I appreciate taking time. As viewers, if you don't know, today is actually a holiday in Germany, and Thomas has kindly decided to do this interview with me anyway. So I really appreciate it, Thomas. Well, look, I look forward to hopefully seeing you in person at Achema in June. So viewers, if you'd like to learn more about Achema, click on the link above and get your ticket if you haven't registered. And if you'd like to learn about ISP, both in North America, but also in Europe, click on the link above again for the link for ISPE, and you'll learn more about ISPE and all the various events they've got globally, including Europe as well. And if you've got any questions based on what Thomas has said today, feel free to put them on LinkedIn, because Thomas is on LinkedIn, and he will be happy to answer any questions you have as well. So Thomas, it's lovely to see you. Enjoy your day off today officially, and have a lovely holiday next week. And I look forward to seeing you at Achema in person as well.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you on the 10th of June.
I look forward to seeing that. And viewers, thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in person at Achema as well in June. Until then, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.